Moving on to our next match review. This match comes to us from Doma, who has 1.763. Well, 1.763. I don't know why I said it like that. 1,763 hours in the game of Dead by Daylight. So well over that 1K hours. I expect people to consistently have their fundamentals down. So good macro pressure, quick chases, that sort of thing. You can do it far quicker than that amount of time, but typically that's about the area I expect you to be able to do it consistently. You're playing the Xenomorph, middle of the pack B tier character, the one that I main, moderate skill floor. So not a plug and play kind of character, but once you get good enough with them, you can get a lot of value out of them. So that theoretically shouldn't be working against you if you play them regularly. You are on Nostromo, which is a very map in general, but the problem specifically with Xenomorph is that the collision is extremely questionable on this map. Compared to other maps. Not that any maps in DBD really have good collision anymore, if they ever did. But Nostromo's notorious. All these like bulbous rocks, like it almost feels like they just kind of like rounded up when it came to the collision. Like you can see my mouse here. Like you can see the collision of this object. Realistically, you would think, oh well, it's what I see right. No, it's like it's kind of like here and out here, and yeah, it's just kind of. It's really bad. So for a character like Xenomorph where you really have to play around collision, Nostromo is not too fantastic for them. There's ways that it is good. Like your control station spawns are generally really nice. There's a lot of things you can over and around with the tail attack. Hi, William. Are you going to try to help? But otherwise, yeah, what do you think? Do you think at all? No, I didn't think so. But otherwise, let's take a look at your add-ons and your perks. Anyways, in terms of your add-ons and your perks here, your add-ons are a little questionable. You have Ashen's Innards, which increases the duration that turrets are down after being broken by, I think it's an additional 15. Right, it is 15. I just heard thunder through the floor. That was kind of freaky. Yeah, Ashen's Innards is not a great add-on because, like, in theory, you do get net value out of it because every time you break a turret, it's off the field for longer, which should, in theory, just be a good thing, right? But the problem is, like, with the way that Xenomorph works, as long as there's more turrets to grab, which there always is because there's 4, the same problem happens of, like, you're running into a flame turret, it slows you down mid-chase, you lose all that distance, and then you got to catch up. Or if they have double turrets up, you lose your power, and now you got to go leave the chase, get into a control station, come back out with your power, and by that time, the survivor's probably gone, right? That still happens even with Ashen's Innards, because as long as there's more turrets to grab, this doesn't really matter. Because, like, you break one turret, oh, well, it's down for 75 seconds instead of a minute. Oh no, I'm just going to go to the next control station and grab another one. Like, it's on paper, sounds great, but in practice, almost completely useless, which is really funny. I've tried so many, like, builds where, like, I've tried to get value out of this add-on that, like, I notice it taking an effect on the game, and I really can't. Now, if there was only, like, 2 turrets, yeah, this add-on would be pretty good. Because if you set up a double turret sub and the Xenomorph breaks both, then they're gone for even longer. There's no turrets on the map, period. But because there's 4, you just go grab another one. There's always, unless they play really, really, really badly, and for some reason put all 4 in one area, and you break all 4, they can just always go grab another. So this add-on, not great. Conversely, Harpoon Gun is one of, if not their best add-ons, and that's the one where whenever you exit a control station for the next 30 seconds, anybody you hit causes everybody outside of 60 meters of you to scream and reveal the location to you. This is one of their best add-ons, especially when run with Hex Totem perks, but in general is really amazing because it gives you map-wide information multiple times. Any sort of interrupt synergy, like we see over here with Deadman's, very, very good. Hex Totems as well. Harpoon Gun is amazing. In terms of what would I replace Ashen's Innards with, Lambert Star Map reduces the range of flame turrets from 10 meters down to 8. That's their other contender for best add-on. Completely nerfs your counterplay in a way that's really, really helpful. You could do plenty of other things. You could do like self-destruct bolt, make your vault speed faster and crawling mode by 30%, but realistically, most people do like Star Map and Harpoon, and that's usually your best bet for like best in slot Xenomorph add-ons. In terms of your build's mostly okay, but there's some concerning areas here and there. There's 3 slowdown, which is already kind of beefy. Deadman's is one of Xenomorph's best add-ons, like I said, best perks. Like I said, it does synergize well with Harpoon Gun as well. The problem that I'm seeing is you're running it in alongside Deadlock, and Deadlock and Pain Res Deadman's they don't really play along well together, because think about this scenario, and this scenario happens often. So you pop out of a control station, hit somebody with Harpoon Gun. Everybody screams. Deadman's was active, they let go, the gen's blocked, right? And now you pick up a survivor, you go hook them on a Scourge Hook. Pain Res does not hit that gen that guy was on. It hits just another random gen that had like 10% on it. Damn, there goes my Pain Res, kind of wasted. And now, by the time that I get back in my control station, and I'm looking around for my next chase, Deadman's is over, that person gets back on that gen that has, like, you know, not been hit by Pain Res, because Deadman's already activated on it. And now they pop it, and you're like, darn. And then Deadlock goes off on a different gen somewhere else. And by that time, you found another chase, and you down that person, you hooked them on a Scourge Hook Pain Res, but nope! Deadlock's active, remember? So now that gen's blocked, so now that gen's not being hit by Pain Res. Now it's hitting another one that is also less convenient. It's just like, there's a little bit too much overlap with, like, the way, like, Deadman's and Deadlock overlap in terms of trying to hit Pain Res, because Pain Res requires the gen to be unblocked to be able to hit it. But if, like, you have half of your build is gen blocking, you're just constantly blocking your other perk and neutering its effect. It's just messy. So I would not run Deadlock in tandem with these two perks. Enduring is also kind of like a puzzling pick on Xenomorph, because Xenomorph is like, their whole shtick is that they're anti-pallet. That's like the whole point of the tail attack, is you hit them as they're on the way to the pallet with the tail attack, or you wait for them to drop it and hit them over it. You really shouldn't be in situations a lot where, like, you're getting stunned as Xenomorph basically ever, really. Like, there was a day, like, very recently, you guys remember, it was like last week, where I ran Enduring in a quality of life build all day. And I got stunned maybe one time the entire day. Because what Xenomorph does is he just waits out the pallet drop and just bonks you over it. Or they'll just bonk you over the loop before you even get to the pallet at all. So it's like, you're not playing the pallet there either. So realistically, Enduring is kind of like a bum slot on this character. Like, realistically, Enduring is a very, very nice quality of life perk, but this character doesn't really get stunned a lot if you're playing them correctly. So that's kind of like a doozy to have on the build. No, don't fall for the new trap. Don't run Enduring with acidic blood. Stop it. Cease. No. You're not a YouTuber that played Xenomorph one time and was like, guys, I need a new build for my YouTube channel where I suggest things that aren't really good for the killers, and even asking a main of the killer, they tell me no in 2 seconds. But hey, I'm going to tell my 300,000 people this is good, even though it's f***ing not, because I want to make that ad revenue. No, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. Acidic blood, while funny, not a good add-on. Is it fun occasionally? Sure. Not good. It's for the DBD YouTubers who want to make a quick buck off of you not knowing the character. Don't do it. It is the DBD YouTuber add-on. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right. Anyways, the summary of this is half your build. While Deadlock is not bad as a perk in synergy with what you are already running, not great. So these two, these two, great. Okay, you just kind of popped up without seeing if anybody was around. Thankfully, there are scratch marks here. Where are you going? You saw scratch marks. Where are you going? Hey, get back here. Cheesecake, thank you for the 32 months. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's turbo kind of you. I appreciate it.
Swag.
I never want to hear Brian say that ever again. I feel like I just got like secondhand embarrassment from listening to him say that. Swag. That was something. Balls aren't honest, but thank you, friend. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very, very kind. Yeah, you should have kept chasing the person you saw with scratch marks off. They're just like randomly leaving. Okay, like, okay, I want to say something. Is that like just as much as like Xenomorph's tunnels are your like get around the map quick tool, because you move 18 meters a second, it is also your find everybody tool. You have one of the best base kit info kits in the game outside like Doctor. You have 60 meters of footstep reading. You have 60 meters of killer instinct upon exiting the control station. You have 60 meters of hearing while in the tunnels. You can track people like nobody's business while in the tunnels. So you really shouldn't be in this situation where you're just like in, out, in, out, in, out, and you haven't started a chase yet. Like, you should be waiting till you get some information and then pursuing a chase. Hi, Spectra. We're doing match reviews. That was probably the person's scratch marks you saw earlier. You can hit over this, but you got to get a little bit closer. You have to take it like diagonally over the side of the table and avoid that cord. That cord has collided. Pull that out the right way. You can shoot over this too. It's just harder. Hi, Fruity. Good shot. You now know where everybody is because of Harpoon Gun. Even if you're not running it with like perks to synergize with it, it is still amazing constant info, which is why it's one of its best add-ons. Not the best. And this is why Dead Man's is one of Xenomorph's best perks, because you just force people off gens so naturally using your power. Okay, once again, I'm not sure. Yeah. Once again, and I say once again, you haven't done this so far, but this was a big problem in our last match for you. You had somebody that you saw straight ahead of you, that you knew exactly where they were, but instead you tried to go find the person riding around. You should just chase the person that you see. Like, DBD is a game of time management. You gotta get on it. Quick. See somebody, find them, down them, hook them. See somebody, find them, down them, hook them. You know, it's like you gotta keep things going. You can't spend like 15 to 20 seconds like. Where did I put my survivor? You can't do that, because that whole time that you're doing that, somebody's going ding 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 on a gen. Match time is gen time. You cannot be wasting that time. Well, they'll go play Vecna if you want magic. That character exists. Yeah, you're literally searching this entire side of the map for this person, and they have not only gotten the unhook, they have literally reset in the time that you've spent just kind of like messing around. I'm not saying this because I'm mad at you or I hate you or you stink. I'm just saying, like, for perspective, you wasted your entire Dead Man switch searching for this person. The entire point of Dead Man switch is this gen that I don't want to activate, to proc, to pop. I don't want it to get finished. I'm going to interrupt them on it so I can buy enough time to go put pressure somewhere else by having a chase and then coming back. You wasted your entire use of Dead Man Switch here searching for this person. That is how much time you've been doing nothing. Congrats on that P100. Dracula's a good pick too. For reference here as well, if you really are this stubborn about finding somebody that you're convinced is ratting nearby, once again, you have 60 meters of killer instinct upon exiting a control station. Just hop into a control station, pretend to leave, and then pop right back up if you don't see any footsteps, and killer instinct will reveal them. Easy peasy. Yeah, they weren't. They could have come back and dropped that, but they weren't, so. Like, she wasn't. She had clearly lead on at that point. See, this is. Chat, what did I say before this started? Remember that example I gave? Look. Finally down the Sable, right? The gen that it's literally about to pop. What did I say? What was going to happen? It's going to be blocked, and you're going to want to use pain rails on it, but you can't. This is literally what I forecasted. Literally. I was like, I bet you, because you have so much gen blocking, pain res is gonna do like nothing. Because every time you want to use it on a gen that really needs to be pain res, gen's gonna be blocked. I called it. Oh, she's gonna get that boost from that. Hopefully you still make it. It shouldn't be that bad because you just dropped. Like, you just picked her up. Yeah. Oh, please! You had prompt twice! You had prompt 2 times! Did you just not see it? You had prompt 2 times. Why is it odd? That's just how the mechanic... Okay, I want to say this. There have been times pain res has gone through block gens, but that's a bug. That has never been... Like, the intended mechanic, as it's always worked, is that if a gen is blocked, you can't hit it with, like, turn back the clock, and hit it with pain res, you can't kick it. Like, that gen is off the field of play until the gen unwraps. Like I said, there have been times it's bugged. And in the times that is bugged, it is a bug. Not intended. Yeah, she should not have wiggled out there. You had prompt twice. Are you unaware that boil over does that? It seems like you're unaware. That boil over has it's not just like you wiggle more. Like if you drop off of like a high place while carrying somebody, the bar shoots up. So if you're not aware of that, that's a thing. So try not to drop off of like heights while carrying somebody boil over. I think he tried to wait out deadlock. Why is that relevant to anything I'm saying? How does dropping off of a height while holding somebody with boil over have anything to do with that? Gosh, don't camp out against Xenomorph. It's bad. Don't do it. Yeah, you need to start getting your pain reses out. Like, why is she well? So you think they got... So you're not meaning the recent time. You're meaning, like, all the way back here. Hold on. 419. No, not this one. Before. But they don't even look over there. Oh, they kind of do. That's not even close, though. I mean, I guess it's possible. But that's so greedy if that's the case, because that wasn't even close. That was at least like 5 to 10 seconds that they would have to wait more. That wasn't even close, dude. If that is what happened, that's not a saving grace. That's not a, oh, don't worry. Don't criticize them for that. That's even worse, because that wasn't even close. That wasn't even remotely close. If that's what happened, that is disgusting greed and completely miscalculated greed. That was not possible. They would not have been able to do that in time. Yeah, you can shoot over this. Do that more instead. Interesting. And then again, that doubles up on the idea that, like, you shouldn't be putting yourself in the situation anyways. You shouldn't be, like, not able to use your pain res because you have Dead Man's and Deadlock on the same build. Yeah, losing an entire hook just to, like, potentially get a pain res is not an equal trade. That is not an equal trade at all. If that's what happened. Going back to this gem that you saw blocked earlier. You got that dead man's. Unless you don't really look at your harpoon gun too much. You really should. Yeah, just go after her. She's in a more awkward area than the Sable. But that's so greedy. The more I think about it, the worse I get. Because, like, with Boil Over, you're going to risk that after dropping off a ledge? You're like, nah, I'll wait out the deadlock. Oh, that would be... It's like tying two 10-pound weights to your legs and going, I'm going to try swimming. I'm a really good swimmer, though. It'll be fine. No. No, that is not fine. You still have your pain res on Adam, so I would try to use that when you can. I would try to focus on getting Lar out of here, because you have two gens that are fairly far along. Good thing you're right next to a pain res. Okay, you should go back to this one, yeah. That one's blocked. You don't have to worry about that. That's off the field of play. Let me go pressure this one. Okay, catch somebody just waiting to get back on this. Unfortunately, not a Death X Survivor. You really should be finding your Death X Survivor at this point. You have two now, so it's your pick. I think this is like one of the subtly the worst things that killers do, and I'm not saying this person is, but I'm saying it's just like, how do I say this? They kind of just screw around. Like, they'll be at like 3 gens, and as you can see, we've passed 2 gens that are nearly finished, and this one is like halfway already by the sounds of it. And they only have 3 gens left. So that's like game here pretty soon. But like, a lot of players will just be like, oh no, I'm gonna go chase this person. It has 1 hook. Oh, I'll go chase this other person. Oh, a fresh chase? I should take that right now. It's like as the game goes on, you should be focusing more on people that you've already hooked more as the game goes on, not less. But I see so many players, like, as the game goes on, they're like, oh, but I want a pain res, or I want that no way out stack. You know, it's like, and then they're just like, oh, well, it's 3 gens, so I don't have to worry, but they didn't pay attention to the fact that they passed 2 gens that are nearly done. I think it's like, people play based on this number, which I think is one of the biggest pitfalls of an emerging DBD player, both survivor and killer. I will say they play by what this number says and not what's about to happen, what's happening on the actual field around you. Because if they were they don't have a sense of urgency right now, even though they should, because like I said, they just kicked a gen that was like 90+% done. They had a gen that was dead man's that was like 90+% done. And now they are next to a gen that's like 50. So realistically, they're at 0.5 gens right now. Until that changes, until that, you know, they pass by those gens again and they get updated information, they're at 0.5 gens right now. They're not at 3 gens. They're at 0.5. And they're not playing like it. And the reason I'm saying this is because, like I said, this is like the biggest mistake that I see killer players make. This is the biggest mistake that I see killer players make, is they play by what that number says and not what it's about to be. And then here's the thing is like, wow, there's certainly times where people will bring like B and P hyperfocus stakeout, and there'll be a team that has like hyperfocus stakeout, deja vu built to last, and then event toolbox. And that is certainly gen rushing. It's annoying. I see so many people will in this situation suddenly like all these gens will pop and they'll go gen rushers. But like realistically, it's you playing by this number and going, I have plenty of time, and not thinking about, oh man, I just passed 2 gens that are nearly complete. And now there's another one that's at half. I should probably lock in. This should be your response. But I don't know. Now you're choosing another person that, you know, isn't Death Hook. I just had a brownout, by the way, so just had that. I said the weather's a little shaky today. I don't know if you saw it, but like my lights flickered. I'm glad they're helpful. That's why I do them, because I'm trying to help people improve. That's why I put them into the YouTube too, because like you said, other people watching go, oh, I do that. I should probably not do that. Okay, you catch somebody coming in for the save. Okay, this is a Death Hook person. You should go for them. Ah, unlucky. It's hard to like readjust once you're going up or down like an elevation. I noticed it more when I'm playing like Jason in Springtrap, but that's happen on Xenomorph sometimes. Hey Chad, have you noticed that this person hasn't been stunned once? I hope. They're going for some really ambitious mind games. Thankfully it worked out. But it also did extend the chase a little bit initially too. They were stunned once? Did they get stunned once? What chase did that happen in? Either way, clearly Enduring is doing a lot of work. The point I'm trying to make. R and main. Really, Hulk. It's storming here, so hopefully that won't be me soon. Oh, hey, look. Second use of Enduring. I'm going to say that does feel good, and that's really cool. But you've only been stunned twice this entire game. you know what I'm saying? Like, was it really worth being down a perk slot like almost the entire game just for that one shot? The answer is no. Also, another thing that I haven't talked about with like Enduring as a concept on this character too is like once people realize you have Enduring, if you do get stunned, they're gonna start pre-dropping, which is bad for you. Because like the one thing that kind of blows up Xenomorph even from the 1v1 perspective is when somebody sees you coming like 5 to 6 meters away and then they pre-drop outside of your tail attack range, there's nothing you can do. So aim your tail very, very low. Shouldn't do that. It's gonna thwack the floor a lot and cause you to miss. Also notice what you're doing is you're like abruptly stopping your momentum because you're kind of trying to bait out stuns. I wasn't going to say this until I saw it like a few times, but that was like the 3rd or 4th time I saw it. Like you'll hit somebody right by a pallet and then pray they come back and stun you, even though it's a bad idea. And you're just kind of, once again, praying that the survivors are stupid. And it hasn't worked, really, besides the Hinako. But still, you're trying to, like, put yourself in a situation where, like, okay, well, I get stunned and then I just hit you. But, like, realistically, what's happening is when you're just stopping your momentum entirely mid-chase, I mean, I paused that there accidentally, you're giving the survivor more distance for no reason, for, like, a gimmick. Wretched Fate, it's underrated? No. No. It's very rated. Wretched Fate, pretty rated. Pretty not good. That's a very dangerous pallet to leave out. You were way too far back to hit that. Good job, Boogulin. I will say, whoa, I didn't even know you could do this on YouTube. I will say, it's cool to go for ambitious shots, but I would say that, like, your ambitious shots in mind games have, like, ruined most of your chases. Like, you have actively added increments of chase time to every single one of your chases by going for, like, a Hail Mary shot that you have no context clues is coming. I think when I go for a shot that's, like, super wild and out there when I'm playing, like, Jason or Xenomorph or something like that, it's because I have context clues that they're going to be exactly where I'm going to shoot. Whether that be scratch marks or the previous time I chased with this person, I know they like to do this. But, like, you're just making, like, hard reads without any information at all that's about to happen. You're just like, wouldn't it be cool if, and then you just send it. But, like, hey, stay out of the garage. Hold on, I must. Yeah, you. There's nobody else. Who else? You think they're trying to get in the garage? Of course I'm talking to you. I hate how he does that. When I yelled at him, he's like, me? Why would you be yelling at me? None of them want to get in the garage, William. They don't care. They don't care about our garage. So who else would I be telling not to get in the garage? I don't know, maybe the escape artist, that despite the fact that you know what's messed up? I cleaned that entire corner. I put all your toys out because I love you. And I want you to have yet another space in this house that's specifically yours for you to play in. And you still want in the garage. What is wrong with you? You know what's funny? He's kneading on my elbow. He's like, Dad's giving me attention. Yeah, well, you're giving Dad stress. I don't appreciate it. You're lucky you're cute. You're lucky you're freaking adorable. You're a menace. 90% of the time, he's a good boy. But that 10%? That 10% is bad. Stinky. Very, very stinky. All right. I gotta do the match for you, buddy. I love you. Ugh. Thank you for hanging out. Anyways, to get back on topic, stop going for Hail Mary shots. It's fun every once in a while, but you're doing it like every chase, multiple times a chase, and it's wasting a lot of time. We have a very hands-off landlord, Lovelace, which is in a lot of ways a good thing, but in a lot of ways also a bad thing. A slug is very greedy here, considering the fact that you really should be taking what you can get at this point. If you ever in a corner, she should be dead regardless. What are you doing? You're gonna slug again? Homie, you are biblically greedy. This is the kind of greed they talk about in the Bible. You're gonna go for another slug? With a door already open? You were greedy in your chases that I was talking about earlier, but now you're being greedy in your... They're even healing up. You don't get anything out of this. This is just turbo greedy. This is turbo greed. Yeah, she's up now. And that doesn't even shock me. That was turbo greedy. The first slug was readable? It's really not. Because with the door open, all they gotta do is just like run by, pick them up, and they're out. You threw so hard here. You had a tie. You threw it twice. Not once, but twice being greedy. That's unfortunately on you. Heising. How are you? Yeah, she's out now. This should have at least been a 2K. Okay, let me see what's going on here. Wigglyff probably is how that happened. Wigglyff. Yep. That's why that was super risky. Why that was super risky. She had Unbreakable too, so that could have been her Unbreakable. So either she got picked up through Wigglyff or she Unbreakable. So either way, that's why, especially in a situation like that where it's end game and the doors are open, you don't do that. That was unfortunately a throw. All right, so getting into your main takeaways. Don't panic. There will be a lot, but it's not a bad thing. It means there's a lot to learn from. First, you are a very greedy player. You seem to have trouble taking pressure when you get it, and you try to go for something super ambitious every single time. Does going for a super ambitious tail attack and hoping you get the super hard read every once in a while a problem? No. But if you're doing it multiple times a chase, every chase, you're going to be missing a lot, and that puts you behind, and it wastes a lot of time and extends your chases, and that's not good. If you have somebody down and you choose to slug them in the end game to try and apply more pressure, is it inherently a bad thing? No. But in a situation like that, where they're already resetting, they're already getting the doors open, like, the odds you will be able to somehow translate that into like a 4-person, 4-slug GG situation is very unlikely, but you went for it not once, but twice anyways. You are far too greedy. So I would try to take whatever like thought you have in your brain of like what's possible in DBD and kind of like cut it down a little bit, make your expectations a little bit more realistic, because both in your chases and in like both in your micro play and your macro play, you are egregiously greedy. You are way too ambitious, and it's frankly holding you back. So try to chill. For lack of a better way to put it. You try to chill out a little bit. Hi, Jay. Hopefully you're well. I think second is something we were talking about earlier, is like, you gotta be able to keep a mental note of like the gen progress throughout the match and how much pressure is being applied to you. And try to go for as many like death gamers as possible as you feel that pressure more applied to you. I think realistically what happened here is what I was talking about in the middle of the game, where you saw the number at the bottom corner that said 3 gens, and you're like, oh, I still have time to mess around, which is why you ended up going for like Hanako and Sable, even though they were not Death Hook, because you assumed you had more time. But realistically, you should have known there that you didn't have more time, because you passed 2 gens that were nearly finished and passed another right before you started that chase that was at least half. So you should have known that there was at least 2.5 gens ready to pop and played with that in mind, but you didn't. You played like you had all the time in the world, which was not good, which is what puts you in that situation. So try to keep track of how much pressure the survivors are applying to you and keep that as a mental note, and adjust your play style and adapt in the moment as needed, instead of just only looking at the bottom and going, oh, I'm at 3 gens, I'm fine, because that was definitely not the case. I think my third main takeaway is that you really get hung up on searching for people that are like hiding, instead of going for like something that's like more obvious. And so, like, for example, at the beginning of this match, when you were searching around for that Sable in the corner, you saw the Addon and he ran away, but you saw him, you knew exactly where he was, but instead you spent the entire duration of Dead Man Switch looking around for the Sable, and you did find her at the end, but you essentially wasted all of the value of that perk because you were spending so much time looking for that person. That's not even including the conversation that Xenomorph has so much basic information, so you could have just gone in the tunnels and then waited for her to walk out, which would show footsteps, or pop out of the control station and find her with Killer Instinct. But you spent so much time searching around rocks, searching in corners, that you essentially just gave the survivors like 30 seconds of uncontested pressure and gen time across the map. It's okay to like search for somebody that you think is hiding around for like 5 or 10 seconds. Be like, just take a little peek real quick. But if you're spending that long searching for a survivor, that's just a bunch of pressure that's happening in the background against you. So you really shouldn't be doing that. Fourth is, this is kind of like perk related. Like you saw, try not to run too many blocking. How can I say that? Gen blocking perks with pain res or any other sort of like pop or any gen damage perk, because like while you could run plenty of like perks together that are gen blocking and gen popping, if you kind of don't balance that out, you ended up in the situation that you were in here where like felt like at least 75% of the time you needed to pain res a specific gen to prevent the match from continuing. It was blocked by either dead man's or deadlock, which was not good, which essentially made it to where even though pain res is consistently one of the better, if not the best slowdown perks in the game, you were essentially getting next to no value out of it for most of the match because you, through your perk picks, were constantly blocking your own perk from activating, which was not good. Not good at all. I think the fifth thing, which was something that I was mentioning in the middle of the match, is that Xenomorph in specific is a character that is an anti-loop and in a lot of ways specifically an anti-pallet character. You wait out the pallet drop, and while the survivor's in the dropping animation, you tail attack over and you hit them. This makes a perk like Enduring not so good on the Xenomorph because realistically the value you would get out of Enduring is very low compared to just like waiting out the pallet drop and hitting them over consistently. It's far more consistent. It works better. It's realistically what you should be doing. So you really shouldn't be putting yourself in a lot of situations where you're getting stunned, period, even if you have Enduring. And I saw you specifically in this game, like I had mentioned as well, is like constantly stopping to try and bait out a stun. But by that point, you'd been stunned a couple times at that game in the game up until that point. So like, if they are even in somewhat like any sort of comms or coordination, like they know. Like the team knows that you have Enduring, so they're not going to keep dropping it on your head and feeding you value. It's not going to happen. Not to mention that against Xenomorph in general, also like one of the best things you could do against the tail attack is to kind of like bait out the swing with the tail attack. So the odds that they're going to put themselves in that locked animation, if they're even moderately good at the game, is also low. It's just like generally not a good idea to run stun perks on the Xenomorph for that reason. But I think even the reason I bring this up even more doubly so for you is because you were literally like stopping mid-chase to bait out a stun, which was cutting your momentum and making all of your chases longer as well. So that was extra hurting you because you were kind of throwing a bit to get perk value. Like I said, that was a lot of main takeaways. Now, that may be a little overwhelming, but in general, it's a good thing because it means a lot of things that you can improve on, a lot of things you can learn from and get better with. So hope you take those and improve.